In today's episode, I explore my curiosity with gastronomy. My guest is Tayo Ola. He is a popular chef whose work has been featured in Forbes, Black Enterprise, and Good Morning America. Currently, he hosts and curates a supper club called Ebi-Ayo Supper Club here in New York. It originated in Los Angeles, but Tayo decided to bring it on over to the East Coast, and man, it has been a huge success. What makes the supper club unique is that he marries Nigerian and Italian cuisines, which have birthed dishes like fried fufu gnocchi with oxtail and lobster jollof rice. We talked about all things gastronomy, like what's the difference between flavor and taste, where exactly he sources his ingredients, and culturally, what does it mean for him to be able to eat with his hands? So let's get into my curiosity. What's up with gastronomy, featuring Chef Tayo Ola. Tayo.
Yeah, that's it. The guy's here, Tayo.
You are here. How are you today, sir?
Feeling good. You know, it's Sunday. It's one of those days that I actually don't have much to do, so I can actually like disconnect, which is really good. But I feel good though. I feel great.
Okay, good. So are you saying Sundays are usually like your off day from chefing?
Yeah, Sundays are typically my downtown for myself because typically my dinners are curated on Fridays and Saturday. And of course, prior to that, during the week, it's work plus prep work leading into the dinners. So Sundays, I usually try to like, don't text me, don't call me, just leave me alone so I can really just like have some personal time to myself.
Okay, good. Well, I know we're
Yeah,
just getting into it. And for our listeners, because they just heard me in the intro, you're here to
yeah,
talk about all things gastronomy. And so you
yeah,
have this amazing supper club, this amazing dinner series that's here in New York City that you were just touching on. And
yes.
and I hope I'm not going to get the pronunciation wrong. More than likely, I will.
Now
Okay.
let's see if you got this. Go ahead.
So, Ebi Ayo,
Okay, you hit it right on the first shot.
maybe?
Actually,
Okay.
yeah, you got it right on the first shot. It's the Ebi-Ayo Supper Club, so you actually got it. That's good.
Ebi-Ayo Supper Club. So tell us
Yeah.
about it. What is the Ebi-Ayo Supper Club and what is it all about?
Ah, man, Ebi-Ayo Supper Club. It's new to New York City. It's a dining series that I curated. Started curating back in Los Angeles about like almost 2 years ago. What Ebi stands for is family, which is of course the communal aspects of the dining experience. And Ayo stands for joy in Yoruba. I'm Nigerian, so Ebi-Ayo stands for joy in Yoruba. It's also part of my full first name, Temi Tayo, and that's that like the love and the joy that I pour into the food that whoever attends the dinner gets to really experience. So I decided to kind of like branch the two together. So Ebi-Ayo Supper Club, it's a vibe.
So Ebi-Ayo Supper Club, although you're
Yeah.
Nigerian, what I learned is that your supper club combines combine a style of cuisine that I would never think to ever combine. Can you
Yeah.
reveal for folks what that is?
Yeah, it's very funny when I tell people like, yeah, you know, I run this five course family style dining, which highlights my Nigerian heritage and my Nigerian upbringings. That's influenced by not Nigerian, by Italian, influences. And when I tell people that, people look at me like, how the hell, how's that even possible? How do you mix Nigerian food with Italian food? And I was able to figure it out. And the way that I was able to kind of really figure it out and the way I connected to Italian cuisine specifically was because I was born and raised in Nigeria. When we moved to America, we first lived in the Midwest in Columbia, Missouri. And we spent 2 years in the Midwest in between there and traveling sometimes on weekends to Chicago. And the first dish I had in America, December 1998, was Italian food. So for me, my first 2 years in America, Italian food just happened to be something that I just kind of like gravitated towards. My dad was a Domino's pizza guy, so pizza, Italian food, being in the Midwest was somewhat of a cuisine that we ate consistently of. And then I spent time in southern Italy at that also for about like 2.5 weeks. I was in Positano, Napoli, Roma, Tuscany, Capri, like the whole southern region. And being there for 2 weeks, a lot of the dishes that I had there kind of like just flavors and taste just brought me back home to Nigeria. So it was a simple, really simple ingredients and simple things, but the flavors and just the community aspects of like, people just inviting you to their house or like their restaurants, come eat and dine with them, or just groups like, hey, come eat with us. Really just kind of like started to bring me back home to Nigeria because we're also big on communal dining. So, being a mad scientist chef that I was back then, I still play around with different things. But when I got back to LA from that trip specifically, I was like, oh, I think I figured this thing out. But there's one specific moment though in that trip, when I was in Italy. This was 2016. The No, 2021. So sorry about that. 2021. I was in Italy, and the guy at a restaurant in Rome was like, "Yo, you need to take your bread, dip it in the marinara sauce, and eat it with the meatballs." And I was like, "Yo, this is Nigeria. Like we do that same thing. Like we eat our bread with tomato stew, with like some type of protein. Sometimes most of the time it's like beef or chicken." So for me, those in little small pockets of moments was like, "Yo, there's similarities between our cultures here. I mean, we look differently, but certain aspects of culture, community, flavors, certain dishes, I'm like, yo, the two goes work together." So I started to really kind of like play around with different recipes and different ideas because, I love Italian food. And I was like, yo, I could figure out how I could really bring my Nigerian roots and the flavors of Nigeria with certain simple Italian dishes. And it's like, yo, this is a match made in heaven. So I
Hmm.
ran with it ever since then. So it's been a hit because people don't expect it. But when people eat it, when people try the dishes, they're like, oh shit, dude, you got this one. Like, yeah, it's really special.
So you know what's funny about this, Tayo, is I came across your amazing supper club from a mutual friend that we have.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ali. So
Ellie.
I am a former HBOer as well, and I know
Yeah.
you were there, and
Yeah.
she did this as well. And so when she sent me your video, I was like, oh my god, Nigerian and Italian cuisine combined, what? So what's
Yeah.
interesting about what you're saying is, Tayo, is I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
And so we know how big, right? How big cuisine is there. I believe
Yeah.
there are actually no blind spots in terms of what they can do. And
Yeah.
Italian food in general is really, really good there. So
Yeah.
in the Black American culture, which I'm sure you've learned, we eat a lot of Italian food. Like it's a
Yeah.
part of it's right? It's just a part of our culture, and specifically spaghetti. And a lot of times
Yeah.
we'll put spaghetti and fish, which might be either a uniquely Midwestern thing or at least a Black American sort of culture thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's really comfort food because it's simple, you know. I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards it. Even for me too, grew up eating a lot of spaghetti. So in certain things like marinara sauce is really tomato stew from back home in Nigeria. So it's like little simple things that you could make quick, efficient, quickly, but it's comfort food. It gives like a nice little big hug, when you get home from work from a long day. So I think that's why a lot of people really gravitate towards like Italian food. It's flavorful a lot of it's flavorful, but the ingredients that sometimes that's used, it's like simple. And when you also look at culturally, a lot of the best food that you would ever eat across all diaspora is like food that your grandma cooks, right? And she cooks it with love, and she takes time with it. And a lot of cultures, it's like similar in that aspects of like cuisine wise. So when you think about Italian culture, pasta, and the nonas be making pasta and making some good food, it reminds you of like your grandma in the kitchen when she's throwing down making some good food. So I think that's why people really gravitate to it's like Italian food because it's comfort food. It's good food.
It is. It's excellent food and simple. That's what's so interesting. Very, very
Yeah.
simple ingredients. So
Yeah.
I know a lot about Italian food. I know a lot about Korean food. I know a lot
Yeah.
about Black American soul food, but I've never had Nigerian food. So for someone
Oh.
like me, Tayo, what would
Yeah.
you recommend as the first
Uh,
dish for
s-
me to try?
so from Nigerian culture, I definitely, of course, West African at that jollof rice. That's like a staple, right? Between Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Liberia, a lot of Western countries in West Africa, jollof rice is a staple. It's really simple. It's white rice that's cooked in a tomato stew. You slow cook it into that. You slow cook your rice into that tomato stew, and it turns into this like beautiful, rich, orangish looking rice that's very flavorful. And every country makes it differently, right? But even in your own country, it's also made differently. Like Nigerians, we have this staple thing that's like it's called pati jollof rice. Pati jollof rice is like the pinnacle. That's like the rice that you want to eat, that you really want to enjoy. But when it comes to like even technique wise, because this is how the similarities between Italian and Nigerian, right? Let me just put people on real quick. So when you make jollof rice, you take time with it. You slow cook that rice in it. It's like risotto. That's why I have this jollof risotto. It's the same thing. Like you take your time with the risotto because you pour in chicken broth into that rice till it gets to like a perfect al dente texture. Jollof rice, same thing. Broth, you slow cooking it into it until when it becomes like this rich, smoky, flavorful, like orangish looking rice. But Nigerian food, I'd say try jollof rice first, and then I would say fufu. Fufu is pounded. It's pounded yam. Yam is of course some of the cassava, yuca, but it's similar to mashed potatoes. But it's not as like smooth or creamy as mashed potato. It has a little bit more of a chewier texture to it, and then you're eating it with like either tomato stew or some protein, or you have it with like sautéed spinach that's cooked in that tomato stew. Like a lot of our food is stew based, like plantains with stew and rice, rice with stew, fufu with stew. But those dishes I would like grab. Those are stuff you really. Oh, egusi stew. Those are the things you ease your way into before you start, going into like the deeper roots of like West African food or Nigerian food at that. But jollof rice, can't go wrong with that one.
That all sounds delicious because I love tomato based foods. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that was a link between Italian food and Nigerian food.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the links because I remember there was like one day I was making pasta, not pasta. I was making pizza, and I always like making a lot of my things from scratch. Like my marinara sauce, I make from scratch. My pizza dough, the whole nine yards, I make it from scratch. Even my pasta, but I just wanted some like marinara sauce with like a sauce with it. But instead of doing it the traditional Italian way with Italian flavors, I'm like, no. Why don't you just use the same ingredients that you use back at home to really like make the flavors for this? So for me, that tomato sauce, tomato stew, marinara sauce, that was like the links between literally the two cultures. So tomato stew is like a big thing that we really like thrive on back home in Nigeria.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so delicious. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. When me and Ali come, I'm looking forward to it.
yeah.
Um, so I just want to give our listeners the exact definition of gastronomy. Okay,
Okay,
I
break
want to
it
see if
down.
you have anything to add to it, which I'm sure you will. So very
Okay,
basically, gastronomy is the practice or art of choosing, cooking, or eating good food.
yeah.
What would you add to that, if anything?
Wait, break it down to me again. Say it
You
from
sure.
your end. Let me hear that. Let me hear that again.
Gastronomy is the practice or art of
Yeah.
choosing, cooking, or
Uh-huh.
and eating good food.
Good food. I mean, what I would add to it is something that's made with love. Good food is made from the heart. I think the best meals you have is somebody smiles and is happy being in the kitchen. I remember I was in Colombia once, and it was like this little small restaurant that I went to grab breakfast from my friends. And I remember walking into that. It was like a hole in the wall spot too. And I just remember I could just hear a lady just singing in the back. And when I walked in there, I was like, "Oh, this food about to hit. This is gonna hit." Like I don't even have to say anything because you could just tell by the sense of that joy and that love that she had. And I was like, "Yo, this is what good food is." Like I don't care if you're classically trained. I don't care who you are. I'll put you next to somebody's grandma that just loves to cook versus somebody who went to culinary school. I bet you grandma's food's gonna be better. Somebody that loves doing it's gonna be better. I ain't go to school for culinary. I wasn't trained for it. It's just something I just love. It just came from the heart, and that's really like for me gastronomy.
You mentioned that you didn't go to school for cooking. So how did you even get into cooking and why?
It's art, right? I think food photography was one of the things that I really enjoyed the most. It was seeing how beautiful dishes would look, and for me, it's like working backwards. I see how beautifully things were plated. It's like, oh wait, I think I can. Let me figure out how to get to this finished product, right? But this was when I first moved into my first apartment in Orange, New Jersey, 2000, 2007, 2000, I think 2007, 2008. No, 2012. Take that back. 2012. I had my first apartment, and of course, I got to figure out like how to who's gonna cook. I gotta cook myself, but I just loved it. The more I spent time in the kitchen figuring dishes out, the more I realized like, yo, this is something that I actually really enjoy doing. It's
Mm.
therapeutic. Like I would work, do things, and I just always would look forward to coming back home and like trying out something new. Like I'd be at work and my mind's like running creatively. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try that, and I'm gonna do all this stuff. And back then I still have my food blog to this day. Like food blog is still up and running, but I started a food blog back then. It grew significantly when I first launched it. Had a YouTube, but of course, I just didn't do the YouTube thing. Reflecting back now, I should have been like, damn, I could have been a YouTube star.
Still
but
can. There's still plenty of
but
yeah.
back then it was just really just experimenting and just having fun in the kitchen. And the more I did it, the more I realized like, yo, okay, I think this might be a thing for me. Like I really actually really enjoy doing this, and it just became natural. I didn't, try to do too much. It just was something that's just like naturally. And the more I did it, the more I pushed myself. I traveled, would get inspirations from countries that I went to, different places, and it's like, oh, okay, I think this is me. This is my vibe. This is where I belong.
But here's the thing about cooking. Okay, so I started becoming a really, really good cook when I got married. There was
Mhm.
a reason for me to get better because my first husband, my first husband,
Yeah,
liked to eat, and
yeah,
he's a good cook as well. But
yeah,
in our household, it was a very traditional household. So for me, it was important for me to know how to cook, and I
yeah.
started to love it. And so I have, a little bit of knowledge about what to pair and how to pair, and even to throw things in there that might not seem like they go, but they end up going, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to know, and he was my taste tester. He was the one that, oh my God, you're really, really good at this.
Good
So
at
even
this.
though you're saying, Tayo, you're really, really good,
Yeah.
how did you get the validation that you were really, really good?
Oh man. Okay, so back then I didn't really cook for people like that. It was really just putting up on social media, and also running it up on the food blog. But the responses from what people would say when they created it kind of like gave me that sense of credibility. Like you didn't try it, but you used the ingredients that I did, and you actually enjoyed it. So that's like okay. So if you're doing it, that means if I'm doing it, I like it, and you're doing it, I'm not teaching you how to really how to tell you how to. I didn't cook it for you, but you like the flavors.
Mm.
That's credibility on its own. And then over time, the more you practice things and you're consistent at it, the better you become at it. So when I stepped into that realm of like, okay, let me actually start cooking for people from time to time, getting those credibility as well too is like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing in this kitchen now. It's never you're always going to keep learning. That's life period. So for me, I'm always willing and eager to even learn. Like I know I'm good at this, but I still want to keep soaking in more information. So the validation is there. I have a great product, this a great brand, Ebi-Ayo Supper Club. Like my gnocchi speaks for itself. My jollof risotto speaks for itself. So it's like I'm confident enough at this point in my career to be like, yo, who trying to go toe for toe? What's up? What we doing? Like,
So it's funny you mentioned gnocchi,
uh,
because my first husband actually
mhm,
made gnocchi,
mhm.
and I didn't love it. Like it was fine, but
Yeah,
there's this thing where there's a difference between flavors and taste. It was like the flavors were there, but for me, for my taste, it's like it's not what
the
I
the
preferred, right?
texture. Yeah, yeah.
And the color white. It's something about
Hmm,
white
hmm,
stuff that I don't like. Like when it's super white pizza, I don't want it.
hmm.
Gnocchi is white, I don't want it.
Yeah,
the cream of whatever. I don't want it. So
Yeah.
to you, what's the difference between flavor and taste?
So flavor. Ooh, man, that's a really really good question. Taste for me, it's kind of like something that I have to be like eager for more. Like if I taste it and it's like whoa, it gives me that like that. Oh wait, time out. This is damn. This is good. Like it draws you in. That's taste, right? It could be both. You could taste it, and you could be like, "Oh, nah, I don't really like how this hits my tongue, my taste palette, my taste buds." Flavor, oh man, flavor is soul. That's kind of like how I look at it, right? It's soul. It's ingredients that's put together very well and that all complement each other. That's flavor, you know? And I think that's the difference between taste. Taste, you can taste it, you can like it, you can't like it. But if the flavors, the combination of ingredients that you use hit, that's flavor. It's unique. It's one of a kind.
So as a chef, I think it would be very frustrating to have even a guest like me, where you're like, my gnocchi is gonna hit, right? And so you're like, everybody's gonna love this, and I'm at the daggone dinner table. I don't like
Yeah.
white stuff. I don't like these certain flavors, so I'm gonna say, I'm sorry, Chef Tile. It's probably good for somebody else, and I'm
Yeah,
sure
but
you
it is
for
for
it, but for my taste, and I don't
yeah.
even know how that's even developed. For my taste, it doesn't hit me. So
Yeah.
how do you deal with patrons like that?
Ah man, just whew, it's tough. It's really really tough. For somebody like that, it's really just having a better understanding of what their taste buds, what they like, and then figuring out how do you create something that applies to their taste buds, right? Not everybody's gonna like my oxtail stew, the flavors of the oxtail stew, right? It's not gonna appeal to their taste buds, but it's me just really just having a better understanding of who the consumer is, like customer is. So what do you like? What do you enjoy? You tell me what you like, then I could try to figure out. Do I have the ingredients for it? If I do, great. That's why usually when I tell people ahead of time, it's like, hey, if there's any stuff that you don't like, things you do, let us know ahead of time so we can shop for it. So that when we do shop for it, I could figure out creatively, like, okay, let me figure out a way to really apply what they're giving me, information that they're giving me, and kind of like creating something like that. So it's a tough. I mean, yay. Sometimes some people ain't gonna like a thing, and it's fine. It's life. I don't take offense to it. Like just because you don't like it, hey, that's your taste bud. I can't knock you for what you don't like. But it's really just having a better understanding of what that person enjoys.
And I think patrons don't understand that it's not necessarily that something's not good. It could be that it's just a taste thing, and that's
Yeah,
all. And
everybody's taste bud. Yeah,
it can be very different. And so I love how flexible you are and being like, okay, this might not have been something that their taste buds preferred, but asking questions. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what does your palate really love? Because you're
yes,
obviously a chef, you know how to combine flavors.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
who are the flavors for and who are they not for, basically.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
it.
That's it.
So I want to enter us into the first game then. Okay. Since you asked me, and I know it was more of a rhetorical question, but this was a perfect transition. So I'm going to give you up to 5 ingredients that are already in my fridge. Okay. So
Oh
for everybody
shit.
I know, here we go, Tayo. Here we go. So
No
for
pressure. Go ahead.
everybody who's listening, I am in
Okay.
my kitchen for a reason, okay? I have the
Okay.
fridge right behind me.
Boom,
I'm
boom,
gonna
boom.
open it. I'm gonna give you up to 5 ingredients,
Okay.
and let's say I'm giving them to you one by one, right? So I give you one ingredient,
Okay.
up to two, and if I'm at two and you're like, stop, I already know what I'm gonna make, then
Okay.
you tell me, right? So all the way
Okay.
up to 5, if that's what you want me to do.
All right, go
So,
ahead. First one. What's the
well,
first
here we
one?
go. All right, I'm gonna open it up. Here we go. I'm
Uh,
gonna be easy. It's gonna be okay. Relax, because you looking real worried over there.
I'm like, where my phone at? Let me go
I know,
start
right?
doing
You're
some
like,
shit.
do not chat GPT anything. Don't do it. Stop it.
Hands are up.
Yes, your
Hands are up.
hands. Yes, I see
All right,
your
go
hands.
ahead.
Okay,
Go
here we
ahead.
go. Okay,
See what you
so
got.
can y'all even see it? No, you can't even see it. Okay, so first up, we have
What you got?
sugar bomb tomatoes. So we have these
Okay.
little things.
Grape,
Okay.
grape tomatoes.
These are sugar bomb. I don't know. I guess they're
Okay.
called grape.
Oh, interesting. I've never seen, but it looks like great, regular, like big tomato, grape
Yeah,
tomato.
they do, right?
Okay, okay. So boom, flavor number one. Okay.
So then we're going to do um we got a chuck roast.
Ooh, chuck roast. Okay, boom, boom,
You want me to
boom.
keep going or stop?
Let's stop real quickly.
Oh my God.
And
All
then,
right.
yeah,
Wow.
we could we can still go, but I
Okay.
got two dishes.
Chuck roast
Um,
and sugar bomb tomato. Grapefruit.
okay, roast. I would slow cook that. Slow cook the roast. And then of course I'll shred up the meat afterwards, and I'll probably could use it for like a soup. Like a beef soup. Let me think what I some
Ooh.
carrots, peas, some potatoes, something that's hearty, something that's flavorful. It's warm for this weather. We're in the cold season right now. The tomatoes, I would probably do. This is it's real simple, real light appetizer. Do like a bruschetta, but a flavorful suya bruschetta. I did this the other day. Was it like 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So turn that into like a bruschetta on a baguette bread. But with the suya seasoning, this is Nigeria meets Italy. Suya spice is usually common for barbecue street food in Nigeria. It's smoky, it's a little bit spicy, and I'll add in some thyme. I'm not using basil. I use thyme because I part that I use Nigerian flavors and Nigerian ingredients. Thyme, some sweet onions. 'Cause I love sweet onions, and then use the tomatoes, dice those up, season it, and then serve it on a toasted bread. Let me think. What else can I do? I think that's it. Yeah. Or I could also do like a nice little grilled cheese with the cheese, and then put the tomatoes, dice that up inside of it, pan-seared on both sides, and you got a nice little hearty, lovely grilled cheese sandwich.
That sounds delicious. Sounds amazing. When you talk about shredding up the chuck roast though, would you use a tool? I don't have any tools for shredding. I don't know.
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
would
I mean, so when you slow cook it, once you're done slow cooking it, you probably slow, depending on what ingredient, I mean, what like equipments that you're using. When you slow cook it, by the time that you're done, when you slow cook for like hours, 2 forks shreds that baby apart. Like 2 forks does the job. I mean, you might put some gloves on, use your hands, get in there, shred it up real smoothly. But the slow cooking technique, you gotta slow cook it. Usually, I have what is it, a Ninja foodie process, like a
mm-hmm.
Ninja. We ain't sponsoring Ninja right now, but just putting it out there. But
Right.
nah, usually I'll throw it in there for about like an hour, 30 minutes because it's super fast, it's quick, it's efficient. Throw it in there for like an hour, 30 minutes. By the time it's done on the pressure aspects of it, shred that baby up, ready to go, ready to eat.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Mm.
I'm actually gonna make pot roast tonight, so that's why I have that. So
Oh,
pot roast,
perfecto.
yes, we're gonna put it in some chicken broth.
Hmm.
We're gonna do some, like you said, carrots. I have some fingerling potatoes over here. I have sweet onion.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's going down, and it's
come
easy to
on.
eat in
It's
the Dutch oven. It's so easy.
so easy. You put all your ingredients in there. That's like the quick thing. Sometimes people think cooking is a lot. It could be a lot of process, but sometimes you put a couple things in the pot, cover it up, or in your slow cooker, go out, run your errands. By the time you come back, food's ready to go. You're ready to eat. So yeah. So you on it. Oh wait, what else you got? Let's see. Give me
Okay.
one more.
Okay. You right? Okay. Thank you.
Give
I
me
want to
one
know
more.
what I have in general, or play another round. Let's play another round. Let's play another
All right,
round. Is
let's
that
try another.
okay?
Let's try another.
Okay.
Yeah,
Here we
let's
go.
do it.
Here we go. Here we go. We got red cabbage. We got a red cabbage in here.
Ooh, red cabbage.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I got some goat cheese.
Ooh, I love goat cheese. Love it. Okay. All
Got
right.
some blueberries. So that's three
Okay.
ingredients. You
Okay.
want me to stop or keep going?
Let's stop. We can actually make a salad out of that. So
Hey.
cabbage. This is actually one of the salads that I actually make. You got ingredients that I love, yo. Okay. So,
Oh my God,
cabbage.
hold on. Wait 1 second, Tayo. This was
I
deja
got
vu. That's so weird. Okay. Okay, go
you.
ahead. That was
All
very
right.
deja vu.
Cool.
All right. Yeah.
So, the cabbage, I make this arugula cabbage salad like a citrusy salad during the summertime. That's like it's so good. I make my dressing from scratch, but it's cabbage. I grew up back home in Nigeria. So cabbage with some arugula. We could throw in some of that blueberry in there, and then sprinkle it a little bit with some of that goat cheese at the top of it. But you could play around with your. Everybody likes different salad dressings, but the one I would use is more citrusy, a little bit of orange slices in there, and then just mix the two together. You got a nice little light summer salad, but it's healthy. You got the cabbage, you got some blueberries. Blueberries are good for you. And then the goat cheese is like a little nice add on. Some people don't like goat cheese, but it's a little sprinkle here and there. Boom, 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 and you hit it like right on the nail. So,
I love it. You got it, Tyler. What's funny is I was gonna make probably for tomorrow an arugula salad. So I have arugula in there. But I wasn't
boom,
thinking about putting red cabbage in there because I wasn't
do it.
thinking that could go. So like just at the base level, like what makes arugula salad, which is very peppery and spicy to
Mhm,
me,
mhm.
go with red cabbage?
So the reason why I did that was because when I was testing out that recipe, that salad recipe by itself, the cabbage by itself just wasn't. I felt like something was missing, and I
Mm,
love arugula. So I was using things that I enjoy and pairing it up together because arugula is not crunchy, right? When you add in little slices of cabbage inside of there, you mix it up with certain ingredients, it gives it a nice little crunchy elements to your salad. So for me, when I was playing around with it, I was like, I love arugula. So why not, instead of doing like spinach, why not use arugula instead? And it, hey, that's my baby. I love that salad.
Listen, Tayo, arugula goes crazy. Okay,
There goes
it
sleep. People be
goes
sleep. People be
crazy.
sleeping. They be sleeping on it, but don't sleep on
Listen,
it.
sleeping on arugula. Look, Taya. I have eaten just arugula. Like I'll put arugula in a bowl. I'll put some salt on it and some olive oil and be chomping away.
And you're good.
Okay, like
And you're good. You see how simple that is? Did you all
yeah,
hear? Simple. Just three ingredients and you're done. Cooking is not rocket science. Sometimes a little bit of this, a little bit of that, boom, 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 and you're good. And you good to go. Look at that.
I love this. Okay, so one more game because now you talked about an underrated ingredient, which is arugula. So part of this game, I'm like gonna ask you that question. If you want to
Yeah.
stick with arugula, stick with it. But if it's something else, let me know. Okay.
Mhm.
So rapid fire. I
Yeah.
am going to throw some questions at you, and you let me know. Okay,
Okay.
Chef Bio. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
All right. Let's do it.
First up, choose one of these three forever. Okay.
Okay.
Sweet, salty, or spicy?
Sweet, salty, spicy. Probably sweet. I
Oh,
have a bad.
interesting.
I
Okay. I'm
do.
gonna, I'm gonna come back to that. That's interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Um, what's one dish that instantly reminds you of home?
Uh, rice and beef stew.
What's the most underrated ingredient?
Ingredients: black pepper.
We're coming back to that. Okay.
Oh man.
What's one kitchen tool you can't live without?
Oh, I would say my knife. I need my knives. I gotta. Yeah, I need those. Very important.
If your supper club had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh man, theme song.
Yeah.
um,
You
jeez,
can
I
steal
would say.
one.
Oh man, can I look at my Spotify real quick?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, of course. Yeah.
let's
This is
go
a
to
good one.
Spotify. Let's see. Like music. Ooh, let me go to Afro beats because I love me some Afro beats.
If
I
your
would
supper club
say
had a theme song, what would it be?
theme song. I would say I would. Okay, this is just randomly just came in my head right now. It's the Pharrell song because I'm happy because it's good vibes. You walk in there and you're walking into a good curated energy. And every time people heard that song, it's just good. I'm happy, you know. Yeah, it's random. It sounds like wait, why did that just come up in my head right now?
I love that. That means that when me and Ali come, I'm about to be doing. Okay,
You're gonna be dancing.
we gonna be dancing because the food's gonna be so good. Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. Okay, two more. One food combo that shouldn't work but does.
Ooh, one food combo that shouldn't work but does. Oh wow. Whoa, that's a good one. Ah man. Um what did I have I'm trying to think of I don't even know. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I can't think of a combo because it's like I can't even think off the top of my head. Like what's a
I mean,
rare
is it
food?
possible that everything works because you're so good as a chef? Is that why?
Honestly, well, not for me, but honestly, that's the beauty about cooking. It's like just be creative.
Mm,
there's no boundaries. Like just because you don't like it doesn't mean somebody else is not gonna like it. So that's the thing. It's there's no limits to what you could do in the kitchen. I think everything should complement each other one way somehow.
you know what this makes me think of all of a
Yeah.
sudden? And this is like kind of separate from the game because now I'm thinking of another one.
Mm.
Mayonnaise and fries. Have you heard people talk about that?
I've actually had people try that, put some mayonnaise, like dip the fries in mayonnaise and eat it. Actually, I think I've done that before. It was actually good.
Oh, it was good. The flavors went together and
It
it agreed with your taste.
was good. Mayonnaise,
Wow.
fresh fries, but it was potatoes. You put a little bit of that. It works. There's something even when people mix like mayonnaise and ketchup together, and you eat it with like some like a sandwich or whatever it is, it works. So yeah. Oh, actually, this one might be a little bit biased. It's not biased, but people gonna be like, you
Let's
put
hear it.
bugging, but pineapple on pizza. I
Ew.
don't know.
Ew. It works?
No, for some people, I've heard it. I don't do it, but my mom likes it. She be eating pineapple with pizza. Other folks be like, they want some pineapple on their pizza, and for some weird reason, they like it. I don't. Don't put no pineapple on my pizza, but that's a weird combo. But people like it, and it works. So
It's
that's what.
very weird, but your
Yeah.
mom likes it. So shout out to your mom.
Hey,
Okay.
shout out to Mama Dukes. She
Shout out
love
to
it.
moms. Oh my gosh. Okay, one more.
Yeah.
Describe your cooking style in 3 words.
Cooking style in 3 words. Patience is one. Two is fun, and last one is creative. Yeah,
Okay,
fun,
perfect.
patience, and creativity. Creative.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, another part of gastronomy that I want to talk to you about is like sourcing your food. I know a lot of times
Yes.
people want to know exactly where you get your food from, especially because, you know, being born and raised here in the United States, like we're really not well known for having good quality food. I mean, right? Like it is probably one of the worst places to like eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what do you do in terms of sourcing ingredients?
Like ingredients, yeah. So back in LA, the beauty about it, the difference because I'm still figuring out certain places here. Local farmers and local places in Jersey and New York. But back in LA, typically I had my direct vendors, right? So ingredient like my seafood, I had a seafood market that I would go to. They owned it, freshly sourced it from different regions. I would go there, wherever I had dinners. It's Goldfish Seafood Market downtown LA. Shout outs to them. They always were reliable, trustworthy seafood vendors that I would go to. In terms of like my vegetables, I had local vendors that I would go to. The local market, what is it? Not local market. What's the market thing that happens every Sunday?
What
Um,
here in New York?
no, not in New York. Just in general.
Oh,
Just the thing?
farmers market.
Farmers market. There you go. Thank
Mhm.
you. Ooh, man, my mind went blank.
It's
I
fine.
would go to like farmers market. I would talk to them and say, "Hey, I curate these dinners. I'm looking for a producer that I could go to day or whenever I need ingredients." So I usually try to build and foster relationships through various vendors in regards to like my vegetables and fruits and ingredients and things that I need in that capacity. And sometimes I just go to Whole Foods, go Trader Joe's, go to get a little supermarket, depending if it's, hey, I can't get it from this person right now. let me go to my local store to buy the ingredients. But I usually try to help the small businesses because I'm a small business, and you could trust the small businesses more than the larger corporations and things in that capacity. But for me, small business thrives in this country, and you could talk to them, you could foster those relationships directly. And here back home on the East Coast, I'm now starting to build my rapport with certain vendors, like my oxtails. We have a farm that we go to down here in South Jersey. Usually gotta wake up crack at dawn or super early in the morning to get there. Drive about like I think it's like a 40-minute drive from where I'm at in South Jersey. So I usually go there, buy my meat because I know it's fresh, it's organic, it's real. Boom, boom, boom. I trust them. And then in terms of other ingredients, I'm still trying to build those relationships with like those local farmers that I could go to. But right now it's just, going to Whole Foods, going to Trader Joe's, going to like, the local shops around here to get certain ingredients that I need.
Awesome. I know
Yeah.
we have only a few minutes left, but I do want to ask
Yeah.
you just two more questions. One
Yeah.
is something that you brought up earlier when you talked about your experience in Italy. I forget which city, but somebody had told you to make sure that you dipped your bread into
The
the
marinara
marinara
sauce.
sauce of the
Yeah.
meatball.
Yeah.
So the reason why I want to bring that up is because there's this action, right, of dipping the bread in marinara sauce and then putting it to your mouth, which is something that we as Americans we don't do a lot. We don't use our hands to
Hands.
eat.
Eat.
But I noticed that when I do that, which is very rare, there's something very not only intimate, but there's something very I don't know, almost holy and spiritual about being able to go from
Eat with your
place,
hands.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that there's no middle management, right, of a fork,
Yeah.
a spoon, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Tell me about just what that feeling is for you going from plate to mouth.
Yeah, so for me, it's like a 360 whole body, kind of like enrichment, right? So for me, when you're using a fork, it's metal. It's kind of like blocking you really engaging with the food. The love and that feeling that you have, that energy that you're passing through your body, that's being passed into the food. When you touch your food, whatever energy that food also has, you're sharing together in that moment. Using a fork or some sense of like not a fork but like a fork or spoon, whatever capacity it is. Not saying you're not supposed to use it, you're supposed to use it, but it's really kind of like eliminating that bond between you and what you're eating. So in Nigerian culture, we eat with our hands a lot. A lot of African cultures they eat with our hands a lot, but it's just that like that connection, that bond, like it's that love. Like, oh man, I feel it. I feel the energy. I feel that sense of love, that energy from that food that I'm passing, it's passing it on to me, and now we're becoming one. We're being united into one. So I think that's just like the feeling for me when I'm using my hands when I eat. Not saying, but I mean, I know I'm African. People gonna be like, "Oh my God, you're African. You eat with your hands all the time." But it's just a thing. If you look globally on a global perspective, people tend to eat with their hands, and it's just like that eliminates that like that stillness, that blockness from food to your body, but your hands, you now becoming one with the food.
So please tell the people where they can find you and the supper club.
Yeah. So you can find me, Chef Tayo, on social. Chef.Tayo. That's Tayo. The brand page is Dinner with Tayo. And then the dinners, I usually announce them through our social handles. My social handle, Dinner with Tayo social handle, and then you can also book your reservations directly through our website as well too. And right now we're based out of New York City, but we are going to be traveling hopefully soon. Definitely coming back to Los Angeles at a certain point because that's home. I can't leave my West Coast people out. And I've also had a lot of demands in different cities. Folks in DC want me to come, Chicago, people in London want me to come. So it's all a thing of just like managing, like, okay, when do I actually make those points? I mean, dinners to those cities. But right now, most of the dinners are going to be based out of New York City. We got some really exciting dinners coming up. I can't wait for it. Well, this one, I guess I could put it out. June 14th, we're doing a dinner at the Yankee Stadium. It's going down. It's going to be one of a kind dining experience, which I'm really excited about. It's really a great kickoff to the summer, but it's also a great kickoff to Juneteenth. And also, June is, of course, Black Music Month. So we want to be celebrating Black culture, Black excellence, Black creativity, and just like a whole community as a whole, as a diaspora. So I'm excited for that one because that's really like, it's like the pinnacle. I've hit a lot of great milestones in my career in the culinary space, but to be able to say like, hey, I'm hosting a true one of a kind dining experience and inside the Yankee Stadium is like, it's such of an iconic, iconic place, and to be able to do something like that, it doesn't get any better than that. So June 14th, it's gonna be fun, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Incredible. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Salute. Cheers.
So is there anything else you want to add?
Anything else that I want to add? Just continue to support the Ebi-Ayo Supper Club. It really is truly a one of a kind dining experience. I feel like the goal for me, the reason why I really curated this dinner is to continue to allow people to come in as strangers and leave as a family. I noticed that from every country that I've traveled to, communal dining is such of a big thing. My Nigerian upbringings, a lot of foreign countries, it's always we. America has this mindset of just me. America has an individualism mindset, especially in the society that we live in now. So for me, my dining experience allows people to come in, let their guards down, and really foster deeper relationships through food. So if you're looking for something that's unique, that's organic, that's natural, you're not being forced to have conversation. You just come in there, come up with good vibes, come have a good time, come connect and meet people you've never met with or dined with, and break bread. And truly get to foster really deeper and meaningful relationships through food. So continue to support us, and Ebi-Ayo Supper Club, it's a vibe. That's my baby, and I love it.
Thank you so much, Tayo, for being on this episode.
Thank you. I appreciate you, and shout outs to you. And I'm definitely looking forward to supporting you at any capacity that we can.
Thank you. Thank you so much to our guests for joining me, and thank you for listening. This episode was edited by Chase Parker, hosted and executive produced by me, Jennifer Brown, produced by Latrice Lauve, and distributed by BlakOWND Productions. I hope you'll join me again on another episode. The Curiosity Podcast is a safe space to not only explore my curiosity of all the things, but yours as well. And together, we get to dig a little deeper as to why that curiosity exists in the first place.